All right, it is Friday night again, and I have a stack of great rentals to share with you, but this isn't the kind of lineup that you would watch with the whole family. The lights are low on this one, the house is quiet, and yeah, this is where the old VHS tapes used to start smoking and get a little bit unpredictable. So pop that tape in, I got you, let's go do this. All right, so welcome back to Friday Night Rentals. I know you got that pizza going right now. It's steaming in there, maybe a little pepperoni and cheese. Maybe you got one with all the works. The Coke, the fizz is popping up off the ice. The popcorn is going. The lights are getting down low. And we're heading a little later into the VHS era than normal this week, because if you grew up in the 80s, and the 90s, you know there was a certain kind of movie back then that didn't really show up until after dark. And I'm not talking about the big blockbusters here, and definitely not the safe stuff. I am talking about the movies you found while flipping channels or in the back corner of a video rental store. You know, sometimes these movies almost felt like they belonged in the 18 and over section only, behind the old saloon swinging doors. But when you found these movies, or you had heard about them and you were able to go rent them at the video rental store, you thought, wait, I am cool now. I know I'm not supposed to be watching this, but I'm about to. So tonight, we are doing a full 90s After Dark lineup.
I have so many names. See, call me Dad.
All right, so 90s After Dark at the video rental store. We're turning up the heat tonight, and everyone needs that particular movie, that crowd pleaser that we always like to start off with. And every Friday night needs that one movie that's just going to pull everybody in. Now, you're not probably going to watch all these with the whole family, but you could at least get some friends or a couple and watch these. And for me, this week with this type of lineup, that movie is The Devil's Advocate. This is one of those movies where you can almost drop in at any point because you kind of know the premise. And within 5 minutes, you are locked in. Keanu Reeves plays a hotshot lawyer who never loses, and he's got that southern accent, that classic southern lilt that he's trying to pull off because he's from like the armpit of Florida. He doesn't quite land all the time. He's not the greatest with accents. It's not bad, but I think he is fantastic in this movie. So is Al Pacino. And because he never loses and he's down there in Florida, he gets pulled into this high-powered New York firm ran by, let's just say, Al Pacino, who from the second he shows up, you know something, you know it. You feel something is not right. Maybe the, cover art would tip you off to that. And the movie plays this slow game with you, and it feels in parts like a legal drama, and then it starts leaning into the temptation and the seduction angle, the power, the greed. And before you know it, you are watching something that feels way bigger and way darker than you expected. And Al Pacino in this, he's just having the time of his life, slithering around, doing this thing with his tongue that's very subtle, like a serpent, but he's funny and he's charming. And then in a split second, he is terrifying, and all of the walls come down and you know exactly who he is. And that's what makes this such a great After Dark movie. It's that shift that it doesn't rush. It pulls you in slower and deeper until you realize this isn't just a thriller. And yes, it has some skin. It has sexual situations in it. It has a lot of sexual overtones, a lot of sexual discussion. It has Charlize Theron in the nude. It has all of that stuff that also makes it a little bit after dark. But the temptation and the seduction that pulls you in without you even knowing it, that's why this thing belongs after dark. This is our crowd pleaser, and that ought to tell you a little something about this Friday night's lineup, The Devil's Advocate. Now, next up is our cult film hit, and this week is one that is pure late 90s gold. I mean, it doesn't get bigger than this, and the cast is 90s gold. I am talking about Cruel Intentions.
You don't stand a chance. Even this is out of your league.
Care to make a wager on that?
I'll think about it.
This thing is one of the most, well-known movies for this, almost the 90s brat pack. You have Ryan Phillippe, Sarah Michelle Gellar, Reese Witherspoon, Selma Blair. You've got, I can't even think of who all's in this movie, because you have Joshua Jackson is even in this film. You have all these appearances from these people who were big in the 90s on TV shows, that sort of secondary brat pack. I mean, you're basically just missing a couple and you'd had it all checked off. But this one lived on VHS, and it was talked about, and you saw it over and over again, if for nothing else, that one part, that kiss with Sarah Michelle Gellar and Selma Blair, MTV award-winning moment. This thing is infamous and famous as well, and you saw it over and over again everywhere. And the setup on this one is simple but effective. This is actually a remake of Dangerous Liaisons. You've got these rich, manipulative step-siblings who are making a bet, basically treating relationships like a game, and what starts off feeling like a slick and almost playful joke and situation gets darker as it goes. And because the movie isn't really about romance, it's about control, reputation, using sex as a weapon and power over people. And Sarah Michelle Gellar in this is absolutely ice cold. She is completely opposite from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was on TV at the same time. She's not just playing this game, she is the game in this movie. And again, this is one of those movies where if you saw it a little too young, or maybe you were just a little younger than the cast, all that kind of stuff, maybe you didn't fully understand everything. You saw Sarah Michelle Gellar or Buffy kissing Selma Blair, you knew it felt different, dangerous. There's a reason that it comes from that movie, Dangerous Liaisons. Perfect for a stack like this. A cult film hit, and moments in this film are absolutely legendary till today. You got an A-list cast. What more do you want? Cruel Intentions is our cult hit for the evening.
God forbid I exude confidence and enjoy sex.
And every stack needs its hidden gem, and tonight's hidden gem is one that maybe you remember the name of it, but maybe you don't remember seeing it, or you kind of forgot. It is The Crush. This is one that I love pulling out for people. Alicia Silverstone just rocking it in this thing, because if you know the film, you know it. All right. The Crush is early 90s thriller energy at its purest, and it kind of gets super twisted, definitely after dark. But it starts off almost innocent. You've got a young journalist moving into a guest house, and the landlord's daughter takes an interest in him. And at first, it's just a little, innocent, awkward, maybe a little uncomfortable, but nothing too crazy. And then it just keeps escalating and escalating and escalating until suddenly you're watching a full-blown obsession thriller, a la Fatal Attraction is what you got going here. And that's what makes this one hit you so hard, is because how grounded it feels when it starts. Then there's this big twist, but no flashy concept in it. This girl just turns on a dime, and she's this young, innocent girl who's anything but, because she is a psycho. And the situation just sort of spirals out of control. And those are the ones that kind of stick with you the most, because you're like, you could see like all of these circumstances coming together and then causing this thing to just go crazy. And then when you have someone who basically is unstable behind it, it feels like it could actually happen. It is twisted, definitely for After Dark, a little hidden gem. If you don't remember The Crush, check it out. We're going to rent it tonight. All right, it is that time again. It is late, like really late now. And this is where the VHS and cable After Dark used to get a little weird. We've got to roll down the horror aisles of our memories. You know it. I talk about it all the time. That great box art that sucks you in. You just get lost. It's sort of synonymous with the 80s and 90s kids horror films. It was so big. And tonight we have a double feature of films that go flawlessly with this stack of rentals. And the first leg of this double feature is as spicy After Dark as it gets, with a wild mix of genres. I am talking about Species. This movie is such a wild mix, right? It is sci-fi, it's horror, it's thriller, and yeah, it definitely has that same adult edge that defined a lot of 90s movies, especially 90s thrillers and erotic thrillers. It definitely has some erotic thriller tones. It is definitely full of skin and sexual situations. And the setup is basically scientists create a alien human hybrid, and surprise, it escapes and it doesn't go well. And now it's out on the world, learning, adapting, and hunting. And the whole movie becomes this chase where you're not just dealing with the monster, you're dealing with something that can blend in beautifully, because you have Natasha Henstridge in here. And the little known fact about this is the young version of her character, of the alien, of the main character, is played by Michelle Williams of Dawson's Creek, and then later much more famous. So you have a lot of 90s ties in here, but you have a great cast, because you also have Ben Kingsley, Michael Madsen, Alfred Molina, Forrest Whitaker. This thing is oddly stacked for an erotic thriller sci-fi horror film from the 90s. I think it fits in perfectly here. You check this out, and if you catch it at just the right time, you're like, yeah, okay, yeah, I'm going to watch the rest of this. It definitely fits here. It is part one of our horror aisle double feature, Species. And then to finish up with something completely different, but somehow still fits seamlessly with this stack of rentals, we have Event Horizon. Now, I have famously said I think this is the scariest movie I've ever seen. If you have a deep imagination, this movie can be even scarier. And this one completely goes off the rails, because it starts like a normal sci-fi movie. A rescue mission in space, a lost ship, a mysterious signal, but then you realize something happened to that other ship. Something really bad. And the deeper they go, the more the movie shifts into straight up horror, not subtle, not implied, just nightmare fuel. This is the one that you would definitely watch late at night, because it has just a lot of sexual undertones to it. You could even say overtones to it. In this, you see all of this imagery that looks like it came right out of a Clive Barker movie. Essentially, this ship has been to hell. It has got the people to engage in all kinds of sins. This movie is so legendary that it had to have just like a half hour cut out of it to keep from being rated X or worse. And the studio basically let that footage be destroyed and didn't even take care of it, because they didn't want anybody else to ever see it. It is extremely graphic, extremely scary, lots of sexuality, lots of torture, lots of, hey, this ship went to hell and you're going too. This movie doesn't just scare you, it lingers long after the fact. It stays stuck with you. And I really think if you let your imagination go in this thing, and you start to come to the realization that Lawrence Fishburne's character comes to in the movie, it can really haunt you for a while. And you're going to need to go back to something like Devil's Advocate to cleanse your palate, which is quite something to say for a movie like that. And this stack of films, I think they blend together perfectly here. Event Horizon finishes out our horror double feature on 90s After Dark. And that is your Friday Night Rentals 90s After Dark edition. A little riskier, or a lot riskier, a little stranger, or a hell of a lot stranger, and definitely the kind of movies that hit different when you found them late at night or popped that video in late at night after you rented it. And honestly, that's what made the era so great. And we are going to continue to go further into these types of movies over the next several videos here on the channel, because these movies didn't just flirt with the line. They crossed the line in the steamiest, wildest, most over-the-top thriller ways of the 90s. And yeah, we absolutely loved it. So let me know, which one are you renting? Which one of these are you going to watch first? Have you seen them all? Are you looking forward to checking them out? Let me know in the comments. And I hope you enjoyed Friday Night Rentals. I love doing this. It feels like old school movie night that made me love movies so much. I can't think of Friday nights without movies, pizza, soda, popcorn. For me, it was Coca-Cola back in the day. I can't think of it without all of that stuff, and it sends me back into that time in my mind, in all the feels, and I hope it does just a little bit of that for you too. If it does and you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. If you'd like to support what we're doing here a little bit more, you can join my Patreon. The link is always in the description. And over there, besides getting your name and likes on every single video, you're going to get looks at my filmmaking, behind the scenes, all that stuff. I'm restoring some of my own films right now. I do deep dives into physical media reviews, all of that kind of stuff. Movie discussions, candid entertainment discussions, all of that stuff, so we can really dive into it in a censored and after dark kind of way. And until next time, be kind, rewind like always. This is Chase with AV Pop Culture, and I'll see you real soon. Bye-bye.